Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Okay, so I want to talk about this glaring problem. I mean, there's a couple of problems that I had in this episode, really. There's a couple of problems that I had in this episode, but I want to talk about this glaring... Are you kidding me? This glaring problem that's been going on. And, we're going to sit there and talk about Spinelli. Because Spinelli really kind of highlighted the whole issue with Sam. So Spinelli calls Diane, and this isn't like he's not just saying like he may need legal, help or whatever as far as, their child. And this comes in the form of the fact that Ellie is concerned for Spinelli as far as, how deep he's getting into this whole mob life. Now, the reason why this bothers me, the reason I sit there and call it a glaring problem, is that this is the same issue that Sam had with Jason. Out the blue. I mean, I know it's because of the whole bombing and Danny could have been hurt and yada yada yada. And listen, I get all that. But at the end of the day, you knew exactly who you were going out with. You knew exactly who you were with. You knew what kind of life he lived, and yet you still chose to have children by him. I remember Sonny sitting there saying something to Alexis when Alexis sitting there calling Sonny something. And Sonny was like, well, listen, at the end of the day, you chose to actually have kids with me. You knew exactly who I was, and you chose to have kids with me. And so hearing, Spinelli talk about his problems as far as, like him and a mob life and stuff like that, I'm sitting there thinking, you knew exactly who Spinelli was. You knew exactly who his friends was. Or who his one good friend, I mean, he has a couple of friends, but his one best friend is. And now, out the blue, now you have an issue? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? And this is a topic of discussion because it literally goes from Diane, and of course, Joey Novak comes over. He's like, hey, listen, and I want to recruit you over outside. I mean, this isn't a choice. It's just more of a courtesy. And, before he starts to get really too threatening with, Spinelli, Jason walks over like, yo, is there a problem? He was like, is there a problem? So he was like, yeah, listen, I need to go outside. We need to have a talk. And by talk, I mean, pretty much pound some sense into him. Just to let him know, you can't be sitting there messing with my boys or whatever. He comes back, and, Britt is there, and she's sitting there talking to Spinelli about, the doctor's visit that, she said that Jason went to, and the passports and everything like that, just kind of chatting it up or whatever. And Jason comes back, and they're talking, and I think Britt is like, oh, I see blood on your hands. Now, granted, I didn't see most of it because they cut it off, and I had to sit there and try to watch it on YouTube, because, let's say there was a news event that something happened, and I'm not going to sit there and say what it was on this video, but let's just sit there and say something happened, so it kind of, cut off the part. But, Spinelli was sitting there talking to Jason, and he was like, I'm having issues with my girl because, the whole business life and everything like that. And, Jason's like, I can sit there and talk to her. And, Spinelli's like, what are you going to say? And to be honest, I was kind of thinking the same way. Like, what is Jason going to sit there and say to Spinelli's girlfriend that Spinelli can't sit there and say to his own girlfriend or his wife or whatever the hell she is to him? Even though Britt's like, let him try, like he's a good talker despite the fact that he's, always silent and whatever. But, Spinelli's like, oh, I'll just sit there and deal with it. And now I'm sitting there thinking, alright, so what is this going to be? Is, Ellie going to sit there and make Jason... It seems like Ellie's going to sit there and make Spinelli choose. And I'm like, come on, you already took Sonny away from Jason. Let's not sit there and take Spinelli away from Jason too. Let's not do that. Let's not break up that I don't really know what to call it. That dynamic duo. I know it sounds very cringeworthy, but that's what I'm gonna sit there and call it. Sam. You know, I haven't seen her in a while, and she comes back, and you're just like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, first, you got, Ava's not there talking to Austin. And then, no, actually, to tell you the truth, Austin was kind of just, well, really minding his own business, you know, having a drink, and Sam walks over, and he's like, I see you're doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, Sam, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to him for? You're not an investigator. I mean, you're not a cop. I don't think she's a PI. What are you doing? Like, why are you in his face? Besides that, the fact that you and Dante already questioned him once, it was like, what are you doing? Like, you're literally, like, all up in his space. I'm like, girl, what is wrong with you? So she's sitting there asking a bunch of questions or whatever, just being really nosy, and Ava walks over, and Ava starts flirting with Austin, you know, getting drinks and stuff like that, and, you know, this is where Sam is like, oh, well, you know, she's a married woman, this, that, and the third, and I'm like, Sam, why is that any of your business? Okay, why is that any of your business? I mean, from what I understand, I don't really think that Sam actually likes Nicholas, really. So, if you're not really a fan of Nicholas, and you're not really a fan of Ava, and you're not really a fan of Austin, why the hell are you in those two business for? Like, why are you in their business for? You know, it just was just like, Sam, don't you have, like, kids to protect, since this is the reason why you kicked Jason to the curb, like, out of the blue? And yet you're standing there getting in everyone's business? Like, what are you doing? I just found that to be, I think if I was actually having a really bad day, ooh, that girl would actually make me a lot more angrier. So anyway, they're going back at it forth, you know, Sam just being nosy and stuff like that. And, you know, Nicholas is just kind of looking, and, you know, Dante walks over. Now this whole thing just gets out of control. Because at some point, you know, the minute that Austin finds out that she's married, you know, Austin's like, oh, cool, so I'm just going to be going that way. And Ava, for some odd reason, is just being really desperate. And, like, how many drinks did this girl have? Like, out of nowhere, she's sitting there practically, like, holding on to dear life. Holding on to dear life for Austin. You know, she won't let him go. And then Nicholas is just acting like, I am so trying not to curse, but I mean, just the entitlement in this man, just the entitlement. You know, he's all like, oh, well, you know, as long as you're still married to me, you can't sit there and be acting like this in public. Like, bro, are you kidding me? You gonna sit there and start telling her how she's, you know, how she can act? Like, what's she allowed to do and not do? Like, she's your property or something? Are you kidding me? I'm like, did I really just hear that right? So they really go back and forth. They go back and forth. You know, Ava drops the ring. Sam is all like, oh, well, that's pretty cruel. Sam, again, what are you doing here? I felt like this whole time, it's like Sam was just bored and just needed something to do. So it's like, alright, cool, let me just get in these people's business, because clearly I have no business of my own, or like kids to really take care of, because, you know, I'm either having them at the Quartermains or the nanny or someone else, but whatever. So she just kept sticking her nose into everyone's business, and then, you know, Dante was like, oh, well, I think it's time for you to sit there and call it a night. Or else what? You're gonna arrest him for what exactly? Like, how do you gonna sit there and start trying to dismiss this man? I mean, granted, he already seemed like he wanted to leave, okay? And he finally breaks away, and Ava's all like, oh, you're a coward, and she's all stumbling, drunk, and everything like that. Like, okay, how many drinks did this woman have? I mean, I know I consider myself a lightweight, but damn, girl, like, this whole thing just ends in a big mess. Meanwhile, you got the bartender calling some person, and you got some person sitting there being a creep and watching all this thing go down. So it's just like, what the hell is going on? Liz! I feel like I need something stronger at this point. Liz has become my new pain in the ass. Because, what is her plan? I mean, Finn is like, listen, let me go to the cops. Let me sit there and tell them everything. I'll leave your name out of it. I gotta sit there and do this. Liz is all like, no, you shouldn't do this. You're gonna go to jail. Your kids, blah, 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 blah. Your kids. Scott comes over, and once again, throughout this entire conversation, you've got Liz and they're trying to play interference. Like, no, don't do it. He doesn't mean it, you know. And at this point, Finn makes this somewhat argument about how, you know, if he turns up missing, I want to make sure I'm represented because, you know, he has a lot of enemies and stuff like that. And, you know, Scott's like, hey, listen, if that comes to it, I got you. He leaves. And, you know, Liz's like, well, you did the right thing. I'm like, Liz, what is your plan? You know, when Finn was like, well, here's the thing. We got... and this almost seemed like this made no sense. And I cannot be the only person that thinks this way. There's one point where Liz is like, oh, well, he did this, he did that. You know, he had it coming for him. And, you know, we shouldn't feel guilty. Finn is like, this man is literally in a refrigerator downstairs. I mean, what are we going to sit there and do? And Liz didn't come up with an answer for that. Liz was just like, well, you know, we got to sit there and stick together. We started with this whole thing. We got to sit there and end this together. I'm like, Liz, you've been talking for like 20 goddamn minutes. You haven't come up with a solution yet. I guess the plan is just no plan, right? We're just going to go to work every day, have a dead body somewhere down below, and just act like everything's all good. Like, this is your plan, Liz? I mean, you already dismissed the fact that Jason could sit there and help you out with your dead man problem, but Finn doesn't trust it, and you didn't really push for it. Finn has a solution. You don't want that. Your answer is just... You can't be this stupid. This is why I'm sitting there saying that I feel like there's something broken in this whole story. I've looked to see if Wes Ramsey got fired, and that didn't happen. Now I know that so not going there. I was reading Julia's comment. I hope I said your name right. Julia's comment. And she really went in on Sunny. I think this is my yesterday's video. I don't normally, you know, every once in a while sit there and, you know, talk about comments and stuff like that, but, like, she went in on Sunny, and I'm a Sunny fan, and I was like, you know what, I can't really disagree with any of that stuff. But anyway, she was sitting there talking about maybe that, you know, he has a twin brother, or, you know, he's not leaving the show, he's coming back. I think he's personally just done for a while. He has a full plate, he has stuff that he's going to be doing. I know he's going to be doing something on Netflix as far as something I'm going to be watching. Resident Evil or something like that. So he has a full plate. I don't think this guy's coming back. I really don't. I mean, his body is dead and it's been in the refrigerator for like, I don't know, weeks or months or whatever. I don't know. So I don't think that he's coming back. But this whole story is just broken. And I'm just like, did he get fired? Did they want him to leave? Like, what is going on? Because it's been days, and y'all didn't sit there and try to take this man out the refrigerator, and you also seem like you have no plan, and yet Liz keeps sitting there trying to call the shots of, no, you shouldn't sit there turn yourself in. You shouldn't sit there do anything. We should just sit on our hands and just hope for the best. Like, that's your... okay. Alright. So, when they walk out, you know, Sky's like, oh, well, you know, listen, if you can find comfort in each other, you know, I'm not going to sit there and judge, you know, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, wait. What do you mean you're not going to sit there and judge? Like, You know, because he, you know, they walk and he was like, oh, I have eyes. I see what's going on here. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so cool. You're going to sit there and really get on Liz about the fact that she's moving on way too fast, right? No, I think you guys should be together and have comfort. We lost a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, what? you, did I get this right? Are you basically sitting there saying that she just gets a free pass? Listen, she's not Franco's property, and granted, she can do whatever the hell she wants, whenever the hell she wants. But, I mean, if it's my son or my dad or something like that, and, like, let's, God forbid, something happens, and I see his girlfriend just, like, you know, hanging out with somebody new, I wouldn't be like, yo, are you kidding me? Like, really? But okay, sure, because we gotta, like, make Liz and Finn be a thing, because, you know what, at this point, I don't even care. I don't care. I don't care because I never really cared about coupling and stuff like that. I just care about things that make sense. And, you know, at this point, yeah, this some of this stuff just really, like, whatever. Valentine is about to get it on with Anna. But, of course, Dante calls and just messes up the whole mood. Whatever mood that they were about to get into, it was just gone. I know it's business and stuff like that, but this is like, it's not bad timing. This is like timing that this man has been waiting for since the day he saw her. And now he gets a chance, and he gets a phone call, and it just goes all away. But okay, sure, whatever. Anyway, their new lead is looking after the, is trying to look for, one second. It's that they're looking for the sister's pilot. Find the pilot, maybe get closer to trying to finding Peter, which of course is dead end because, you know, he's dead. But that's the angle they're going to go with. And then Anna sees a photo because she's looking around in this man's house. Sees a photo, recognizes the kid, well, recognizes him as a kid because of his father, whoever his father is. So, that's going to be something. You know, at this point, I'm just going for the ride with the whole Austin thing. I mean, you know, it's so weird because I look at even when he was Franco for a while, I was like, man, he's tired. Let's not, don't sit there and try to, like, pass that off to me as another character just because some stuff went down with Prospect Park and now they couldn't use this character, so they had to sit there and switch him out and swap him. Like, no. Even when the woman who plays Star, you know, came back and she was Kiki, it was like, no, you're not. No, just no. So, in that regard, I'm glad that they switched actresses, but whatever. Oh, and Carly is considering to do the whole marriage thing with Jason. After talking to Diane was like, it's a smart strategy, and if you want to do it, you can do it. So she's probably thinking about doing it, which means she's going to do it. When Jason comes back, because Jason is not there having his talk with Britt, and after that, he's like, yo, I got to take you home, it's business. And she's like, no, it's cool, but, you know, tomorrow's episode, they're going to sit there and break it off. And, you know, they're going to sit there and get married because that's what no one wants, and that's what's going to happen because Reese Bernard says so. And yes, I know that somebody, I think it was Julie, that says something about the producer decides, like, you know, if he's going to, one second. Getting dark as hell, like, literally. Anyway, I know Julie was saying something like, you know, the producer has, like, the final say, but you know, let's just be honest, I am pretty sure Maurice Bernard is holding a lot of the cards because he is their quote-unquote ratings golden goose or whatever. Which, by the way, I'm enjoying the show even when he's not on the show. So, that's me sitting there saying that just as a fan of the show. And well, everyone at this point knows that, you know, Maurice Bernard, which I know very little of, but, I mean, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Sonny is my character, but I'm enjoying it all the same, even when he's not there, so. But, of course, he is just, you know, I've said this yesterday. I'm so trying not to get upset, but he is messing up the storyline for a lot of other people, but this is just the way it's going to go because he says something, and apparently they're just cool with listening to it, so. I mean, even if they want to give him this request of doing something different, and even though this isn't exactly my favorite storyline, I like certain stuff in it, but to go for this long, it's just... And every time they gotta sit there and talk about, oh, his Sonny's dead and he's in heaven, it's like... You know, I have to do that every time they talk about, oh, Sonny's dead and he's not coming back. And I'm just like... we're doing this though. I had to do that for a while when they, you know, decided to let the actor Morgan go. Craig something. And they kept saying, Morgan's dead, Morgan's gone, there's no body, but he's gone. It's like, alright, yep, we're doing this, sure, whatever. I mean, at this point, could they even really put him in this show? I'm gonna be honest. I think I actually got through most of it. I might have missed one or two things. I always feel like I missed something. I think just because, like, whenever I write notes and stuff like that, it turns into a damn book, and, and Jocelyn was there. I knew I forgot somebody. Damn, she was really just not that important. I mean, she talked about, you know, Jason, and she wanted to make sure her mother was okay. She spent time with Donna, and, like, she was there to be there. So, I just felt like she didn't really... I felt like she didn't really add anything to the show. She was just kind of there to be there. So that's why I was like, I miss somebody, I miss somebody. I probably miss somebody. I probably miss somebody else. But I think for the majority of it, I think I got through pretty much everything. So yes, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. It's hot as hell. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Have a good day, good night, be safe. I will see you in the next video.